Now, this year marks a major milestone for one of East Clare's best-loved community events as Scariff Agricultural Show celebrates its 80th anniversary, and to mark the occasion, a new Heritage Council-funded project is underway to document and preserve the rich history of the show, and the organisers are now appealing to the public for photos, programmes, memorabilia, personal memories and more to tell the story of the event since its beginnings in 1944. The 8 decades of the Scariff Show Oral and Community Heritage Project is the name, which will create a permanent digital archive. And joining us this morning to talk about all this is the organiser, Dr. Tomás Conmara of the Conmara Heritage Consulting, along with the Scariff Show Committee members, Paddy, Doyle and John Blake. And you're all very welcome to the show. And Tomás, this new heritage project's just been launched. Can you tell us a bit more about it and how significant the 80th anniversary milestone is for the community committee and the wider East Clare community?
Well, look, first of all, the milestone, Alan, is hugely significant. The show every year is significant, and you need only look at, even if it's newspaper reports down through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s and so on, as we've already started to examine, you can see the level of detail and effort that has gone into the show every year by the committee of those times. And, the same effort and the same sincerity is still there within the committee, and they're finding new ways of adding to the show all the time. So the show is always significant for East Clare and for the people of particularly North East Clare. But obviously when you reach a milestone like your 80th anniversary, that's a moment where you can look back and say this is really significant that the show and the show committee have managed to keep this going for that length of time, and that there's been that appetite locally and from beyond in the show. And I think that's probably one of the most significant aspects of it, is that there is such an appetite for it, and there is such a love for the show every year in Scariff, and it's by the people of North East Clare and beyond. So the committee, as you mentioned, this year felt it would be important to try and mark that by documenting that heritage in terms of its memory, of its cultural heritage and so on. And thankfully, as you mentioned there, the Heritage Council through their community grants programme funded the project and accepted the proposal that was put forward. So look, from our point of view in Conmara Heritage, we're really looking forward to working with the committee and with people involved over the next number of weeks and months to help document that history and that memory, because it takes us back 80 years to a time when most of the people would have travelled in horse-drawn transport. Most of the people worked hand labour, most of the people worked in small mixed farms, pre-mechanisation, and right all the way up until 2026, when maybe rural life has changed an awful lot. But still, by documenting that, we can capture a tremendous part of the history of the show and related area.
And you would hope so, given how long it's been running and how many people have attended. And Paddy Doyle in studio with me. Paddy, I'm sure you have lots of early memories of attending or being involved with the show, and given the numbers that have attended over the years, you'd be hopeful to be a lot of rich material and stories and memorabilia and recollections out there.
Well, we hope there's a few hoarders around and that there's loads of information. We, we get bits of stuff fed to us, and we have a few pictures ourselves and a bit of an archive ourselves.
But do you have your own particular favourite memory or memories from past shows?
Well, I'm 34 years this year involved, and there's lots of memories of the jockeys coming from Dublin and all over. We were a 2-day show one time, and then we had to cost-effective. We had to go down to a 1-day show.
Just pack all the goodness into one day, make it even better, I guess.
All the best.
What about yourself, John Blake? Would you be hopeful that there'll be lots of great stories out there? Maybe you can remember over the years particular incidents or memories or conversations that you would hope others will remember and have recollections of or material related to it.
Yeah, look, it's 80 years. It started in 1944, and there are still people alive that have been at the first show, and our president, Mickey Farrell, was at every show up to 2 years ago. So I'm sure there are other people that have maybe old books, pictures, stories handed down, like you said. So look, that's our appeal, and hopefully we will get everything and put a nice book together to mark the occasion.
And Paddy, if someone listening this morning has an old photograph, a show programme, prize card, or even just a good story about the Scariff Show, How do they get in touch, or how do they make you aware of that?
Well, we have they can pass it on to us or contact. We have a show page. Most of the people with memorabilia would be involved in the show page. And all we're asking them, we send out messages, but a lot of people don't read messages anymore.
That is true. Tomás, once completed, what will happen to the archive, and is it one that researchers, the wider public, will be able to access in the future?
It certainly will, because we've actually, as part of the proposal that the show committee sent into the Heritage Council, an arrangement was put in place with Cuimhne Van Clár, the Clare World History and Folklore Group, to be the long-term repository of the audio oral recordings that are made, and the Clare Local Studies Centre there in Ennis have agreed to hold the cultural memory that will be documented and captured, and obviously that will be held also by the show committee. So certainly the whole point of it was initially to document, memory and cultural heritage that could be lost. But obviously then, when that is captured, it is to make it available to the public in as many ways as possible. So that's built very much into the ambitions of the project, is to ensure that more and more people become aware of the history and the importance of the show. And I suppose through that to rural life, and farming, which obviously the show has been trying to draw attention to its importance since 1944, as John mentioned there. So, there's a real considered strategy behind the project to try and engage younger people, engage the broader public, but as both the lads there have mentioned, to hopefully, if people are out there listening that have early recollections of the show or have any memorabilia, they can contact us on the Scariff Show page, obviously, but also through our own Conmara Heritage page on Facebook as well, or at 086 274 7230. If they just want to give us a call and chat about it, we'll be happy to talk them through that and follow up then to document whatever they might have.
Okay, well, we do hope lots of people get in touch with lots of memorabilia or just memories and recollections and photos and so on. My thanks to Tomás Mac Conmara, Paddy Doyle and John Blake for joining me on the show, and thanks Paddy for popping into studio as well.